Hello, my name is Lily Navarro, and once, the world used to go quiet when I danced. I still remember the way the stage smelled, that mix of sweat, rosin, and electricity, the orchestra tuning below, the whisper of curtains about to rise, that heartbeat of silence before the lights hit you, where everything you ever worked for stands on the edge of a single breath. That was home. That was me. Broadway wasn't a dream for me. It was oxygen. Every class, every night, stretching till my muscles screamed. Every casting call, where I stood among dozens of girls who looked just like me. It all led to that moment. Asterisk Firebird. Asterisk a revival. My shot. It was supposed to be the start of everything. The night of the audition, the theater pulsed with heat and ambition. I'd been up for 32 hours, rehearsing, rewinding, replaying every step until it felt burned into my bones. The choreographer's voice echoed like scripture. Asterisk precision is power asterisk. I could feel it, the weight of the judges watching, the way the pianist's tempo matched my heartbeat. When I leapt, time stopped. My body floated. Then gravity found me again, and something inside me snapped. The sound was small, almost delicate, like the crack of a wishbone. I hit the floor before I felt it. Pain bloomed a second later, white-hot and blinding. I remember hands on me, voices shouting, but the only thing I could hear was my own scream, raw, animal, echoing through the empty stage. Someone called 911. Someone else whispered, "She's done." They were right. The hospital lights were cruel, too bright, too sterile. I remember staring at the ceiling tiles while the doctor spoke in slow, apologetic sentences. "You'll walk again," he said, "but dancing, professionally, it's unlikely." Unlikely. It's a word people use when they don't want to say, "Times never." Asterisk. 3 months later, my agent stopped returning calls. The theater replaced me with a girl whose name I can't even say without tasting blood. People I called friends visited once, brought flowers, promises, pity. Then they stopped coming too. The world moved on, but I didn't. Recovery isn't romantic. It's sweat, frustration, and silence. It's learning how to walk when your body doesn't remember how to trust itself. It's crying in bathrooms because you can't even stand on tiptoe without pain slicing up your leg. At night, I'd close my eyes and hear applause, phantom echoes that made me both ache and breathe. Every time I tried to sleep, I saw that moment again, the leap, the flash of light, the sound of my dream breaking. Insurance covered a fraction of the surgery. Rent didn't stop, neither did bills. New York isn't kind to the broken. The city doesn't wait for anyone limping behind. So I sold things. The costumes, the shoes, the vintage posters I'd collected since I was 15. Every item carried a memory, and every sale felt like erasing proof that I ever existed. By December, I was living in a walk-up with a leaky radiator and a view of a brick wall. My leg still swelled on cold nights. Painkillers dulled the ache, but they also dulled me. Some days, I couldn't tell which hurt more, the body that betrayed me or the silence that followed. Then came the letter, a thin white envelope with no return address. Inside, a single photo, me, mid-performance. From that final audition, on the back, in black ink, asterisk, accidents don't happen to people like you. They're made. Asterisk. I stared at it for an hour, maybe more. At first, I thought it was a joke, some cruel prank from someone who remembered the gossip. But the photo wasn't one that had ever been released publicly. Only the production crew would have had it. The handwriting, sharp, deliberate, feminine. I tried to ignore it, throw stop thinking about those words. Asterisk. They're made. Asterisk. That night, I went back through old footage, frame by frame, watching the moment everything ended. And then I saw it, something I'd never noticed before. Right before I leapt, a figure moved in the wings, a flicker, a shadow. Then, my partner's grip shifted, too early, too sudden. He'd never missed timing like that. I paused, replayed, again and again. My stomach turned cold. The next morning, I called him. No answer. Texted. Nothing. 2 days later, I found out he'd quit the production, moved to Chicago. I started asking questions. People got quiet fast. "Don't dig into it, Lily," one of the old stagehands said. "You don't want to know." But I did. I times needed times two. Because the alternative, believing I'd destroyed my own future, was worse. The more I asked, the colder the world became. Friends distanced themselves. My therapist said obsession wouldn't help me heal. My landlord left a note about overdue rent. My reflection started looking like someone else. Thinner, harder, eyes always searching for something that wasn't there. Then, one night, I found another letter, slipped under my door. No envelope this time, just a folded sheet that said, asterisk, "If you want answers, come to 44th Street. Ask for Velvet Echo." Asterisk. No signature. I almost didn't go. I told myself it was crazy, that it had to be some scam. But curiosity has teeth, and mine were already sinking in. When I limped down those stairs on 44th, the city's noise faded into a low, dirty hum. A single red neon sign flickered against the damp walls. Asterisk, asterisk, Velvet Echo, asterisk, asterisk. Music leaked from behind a heavy door, bass, slow and hypnotic. I pushed it open and stepped into another world. Smoke, lights, movement. Girls dancing under a dim red glow, not with grace, but with survival. The kind of rhythm born from hunger. A man at the bar looked up when he saw me, like he'd been waiting. He smiled, too calm, too knowing. "Welcome back, Lily Navarro," he said. "I was wondering when you'd show." And that's when I realized the accident wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of someone else's game. And I've learned that sometimes rock bottom has a doorman. The first night I stepped into Time's Velvet Echo asterisk, I thought I'd walked into a dream someone else had forgotten to finish. The air smelled like cheap perfume and spilt whiskey. The walls breathed, soft red lights pulsing to the beat of a bass that sounded like a dying heartbeat. I told myself I was just there for answers, that I'd ask, listen, and leave. But that's not how it works in places like this. Asterisk Velvet Echo Times doesn't let you visit. It keeps you. The man who greeted me that night introduced himself as Vince, mid-40s, sharp suit, smoother lies. His eyes never smiled, but his voice could have sold salvation. "You looking for work or trouble?" he asked. "I'm looking for the truth," I said. He laughed, low and quiet. "Then you're in the right place. We trade in both." He poured me a drink before I could say no. The glass was cold, the whiskey burned, and before long, he was telling me the bar's rules. Cash only. No real names, no cops. He said dancers came and went, just like the men who paid to watch them. But some nights, the back rooms filled with people who didn't come for entertainment. They came to make deals. Paperwork, cash transfers, whispered codes, all under the cover of music and movement. I didn't realize it then, but Times, Velvet Echo Times, wasn't just a bar. It was a front, a stage for something darker. I told him I used to dance. He said, "Then you'll fit right in." That's how it began. The first time I stepped on that cracked wooden floor, my heart forgot to beat. The lights hit me, dim and dirty, but for a split second, I felt alive again. The music took over, slow, deliberate, and my body remembered what it used to be capable of. Pain roared in my knee, but I kept moving. Every sway, every turn felt like defiance. The crowd didn't matter. The tips didn't matter. I was performing again, even if it was for ghosts. But the real audience sat in the shadows. The ones who didn't drink, the ones who never clapped. They watched the way predators do, quiet, calculating, patient. That's when I saw Time's him asterisk. Corner booth, gray suit, the same man who'd said my name weeks ago. He didn't move, didn't blink, just watched me like he'd written the script I was dancing to. When my set ended, he was gone. Later that night, while counting tips, I found a folded napkin in my purse. Inside, a keycard and a message. Asterisk, room 12, midnight, asterisk. I should have thrown it away, but curiosity has always been my curse. Room 12 was upstairs, away from the noise, behind a hallway that smelled like old smoke and secrets. The keycard beeped green. Inside, the air was colder, cleaner. On the bed sat a folder with my name printed in bold black ink. Inside were copies of contracts, medical reports, photos, things I shouldn't have had, my injury report, financial transactions between the Times Firebird Times investors and a company I'd never heard of. Asterisk V.E. Holdings, asterisk V.E. Velvet Echo. Someone had been paying for my silence before I ever knew I had something to say. The door creaked behind me. I turned, and the man in gray stepped in like he owned the place. "You wanted answers," he said. "Now you've got them." I asked who he was. He didn't tell me. He just said, "Your accident wasn't an accident. You were never supposed to make it past that audition. Too much money at stake. You were in the way." The words hit harder than the fall. Before I could speak, he slid a photo across the table, my old partner smiling beside Vince. Same suit, same smirk. "You think the stage is honest, Lily? It's business, and you are bad for business." I wanted to scream, to throw the folder, to hurt someone, but instead I asked, "Why tell me this?" He leaned close. "Because you're useful again." Then he left, and the door clicked shut behind him. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at the papers. Every document, every signature, every stamp felt like another piece of me being dissected, sold, and buried. When I finally went back downstairs, Vince was waiting. He looked at me like he knew, like he always times knew. "You found your welcome package," he said softly. "Congratulations." Something in his tone made my stomach twist. "What do you want from me?" I asked. He smiled. "Just dance. That's all we ever wanted from you." But his eyes said otherwise. Over the next few weeks, I became part of Time's Velvet Echo asterisk, not just as a performer, but as a fixture. The regulars started knowing my stage name, asterisk, Raven, asterisk. The tips got bigger. The stares got longer. The men in suits came more often. But behind the curtain, whispers spread. One of the girls, Sam, stopped showing up. Her locker stayed locked. Her clothes still hung inside. When I asked Vince, he shrugged. She left town. Nobody leaves this town without a reason. Every night I danced, I could feel eyes following me, not just from the audience, but from somewhere higher, hidden, watching through the haze. The man in gray kept returning, always sitting in the same booth, always alone. He never touched a drink. Sometimes, when the lights flickered, I thought I saw someone else in that booth with him, a reflection, or maybe a memory. The nights blurred together. The music stopped, feeling like rhythm. It felt like control. And then, one night after closing, I found something under the stage floorboards. A flash drive wrapped in a strip of satin ribbon. On it, videos, surveillance. Dancers are being watched, filmed, without their knowledge. The files were labeled by dates, names, including mine. The last video had no sound, just me, dancing, and Vince standing behind me in the dark, watching. That's when it hit me. Asterisk. Velvet Echo Times wasn't a refuge. It was a trap. Every move I made, every breath I took, it was all still part of a performance. Only now, the audience wasn't clapping. They were waiting for an encore I didn't agree to give. And I think the man in the gray suit was right about one thing. Nothing in this city happens by accident. I started seeing him everywhere after that night. At first, I thought it was paranoia, the kind that comes when you're too tired, too broke, and too scared to stop moving. But it wasn't. He was there. On the subway platform at 3 a.m., 2 rows back in the bodega where I bought coffee. Standing across the street from my building, not moving, not hiding, just watching. He never approached me again. Not directly, but every few days, something new appeared. A slip of paper in my locker. A USB drive was left on the counter. A text from a blocked number. Asterisk. Keep dancing. They're watching. Asterisk. I tried deleting them. I even quit for a week. Told Vince I needed to rest my leg. He smiled. The kind of smile that made your blood run cold. Take your time, he said, but don't stay gone too long. The audience misses you. That night, someone broke into my apartment. Nothing was stolen, except the folder from room 12. That was my answer. They weren't just watching me perform. They were watching everything. The next time I saw the man in gray, it was raining. I was cutting through 47th, trying to disappear into the crowd, when I saw him standing under an awning, dry, calm, as if he'd been waiting for me to show up. You shouldn't walk alone at night, he said. I laughed, bitter. You've been following me for weeks. You'd know I don't have much choice. He looked past me, scanning the street. They're getting nervous. You found something you shouldn't have. I found times nothing asterisk, I said. You made sure of that? He took something from his coat. A photo, blurred, taken from a high angle. A woman's arm outstretched mid-fall, my costume visible in the corner. Look closer, he said. Behind me in the frame, a hand, my partner's, pushing, not catching. I felt my stomach twist. He dropped me. He didn't drop you, the man said. He was paid to let you fall. I wanted to scream, to run, to hit something, but my body just locked up. All I could do was whisper, "Why me?" He lit a cigarette. The flame flickered orange across his face. Because you said no. And no? To what? To them. The backers. The ones who wanted you to sign a long-term contract. The one that gave them control of your likeness, your image, your future. You refused. You wanted your own agent. They don't like free people, Lily. They like assets. My chest went cold. He blew smoke toward the rain. And now they own you anyway. You just don't get the paycheck. He told me Times VE Holdings Times was a shell, one of dozens. The investors behind Times Firebird Times had diversified into entertainment venues across the city, including Times Velvet Echo Asterisk. The dancers, the cameras, the audience, it was all part of a surveillance and exploitation ring. Blackmail, data laundering, money moving through bodies like currency. The girls who disappeared hadn't run away. They'd been times erased. Asterisk. I asked why he was telling me this. He dropped his cigarette into the gutter and said, "Because I'm next." Before I could respond, he was gone, vanished into the rain like a ghost written out of the scene. That night, I didn't sleep. I went through everything I had, the flash drive, the notes, the fragments of truth that didn't fit together yet. But one thing did make sense. The way Vince looked at me, like he already knew how this story ended. I decided to test him. The next day, I went back to Time's Velvet Echo asterisk. I danced like I used to, fluid, fearless, electric. The crowd leaned in, the lights pulsed, and I saw Vince standing at the back, whispering into his phone. When the set ended, he motioned me over. "Good to have you back," he said. "Feels good to be back." I lied. He poured 2 drinks and slid one toward me. His cufflink caught the light, silver, engraved with the letters Times VE asterisk. "I met someone," I said. "A man in gray." He stopped stirring his glass. "Did you?" He told me about the company, about Time's Firebird asterisk, about how my fall was. Too arranged. His smile didn't move, but his eyes did. Cold, precise. "You should be careful who you talk to. People disappear for less." "I know," I said softly. "Like Sam." He didn't blink. "Sam made bad choices. So did I whispered. For a moment, we just stared at each other. The music swelled in the background, bass crawling through the floorboards. Then he said, "You're lucky, Lily. You get to perform again. Most don't get that chance. Don't ruin it trying to be a hero." I left before he could see my hands shaking. Outside, the rain had stopped. The city lights shimmered on wet pavement, and somewhere behind me, the bar's neon sign buzzed like a heartbeat. I didn't know who to trust anymore. The man in gray was gone. Vince was watching me. My phone buzzed with another blocked text. Asterisk. "They think you're scared. Don't be. It's your turn." Asterisk. No signature. I looked around, half expecting to see him in the crowd. But all I saw were reflections. Dozens of them. In the puddles. In the glass. In the darkness. Something shifted in me then. Maybe it was fear. Maybe rage. Maybe both. For months, I'd been performing for survival. But that night, I decided to perform for something else. Revenge. If they wanted a show, I'd give them one. Only this time, I'd be the one writing the choreography. The music changed inside, Time's Velvet Echo asterisk, a slow rhythm pulsing through the ground, the kind of song you could disappear to. And for the first time since my fall, I wasn't scared of the dark. I was part of it, and I've stopped pretending I'm the victim of a tragedy. Now I'm the author of one. By the time Velvet Echo opened that night, I'd already decided someone was going to bleed. I just hadn't chosen who yet. The rain had washed the city clean, but inside the bar, everything felt dirty again. The red lights flickered. The bass thumped slow and steady like a countdown, and the girls were already moving to a rhythm that no longer belonged to them. I'd spent the day piecing together everything the man in gray had left behind. His USB drives, the photographs, the contracts, they all pointed to the same truth. V Holdings wasn't just laundering money, it was laundering people, the dancers, the bartenders, even the security guards, all names in a ledger, traded between investors like collectibles. Every woman who disappeared had one thing in common. She tried to quit, and at the center of it all stood Vince, my boss, my handler, my captor. He didn't run the bar. He owned the silence in it. The cameras, the bank accounts, the lies. The man in gray had been one of them once, a fixer who went rogue. That's why he was being erased. That's why he'd come to me. And that's why he'd given me everything I needed to burn them down. The flash drive he'd left behind contained a digital key, access to the bar's internal surveillance feed. Every room, every transaction, every private show, all recorded, all stored, all traceable back to VE Holdings. For 2 nights, I watched. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I watched the ghosts of every girl who'd ever stood where I was standing. Sam, Ruby, Kira, all of them smiling on stage while their data was being sold in the back rooms. And then I found it. Footage from Firebird, my final audition, uploaded and labeled with the same VE file code. They had filmed the accident from 3 different angles. The fall, the scream, the blood. It wasn't just an injury, it was a broadcast. I felt something in me snap again, the same way my knee had that night. But this time, it wasn't bone, it was mercy. I made a plan. When Vince called me into his office, I was ready. "Lily," he said, voice syrup slick, "you've been distracted." "Just tired," I said. "Long nights." He smiled, but his eyes were scanning me, searching for cracks. "You've been talking to people you shouldn't." "I dance for whoever pays," I said. "That's all." He leaned forward. "Don't lie. We know you've seen the man in gray. He's unstable, dangerous. If he contacts you again, you tell me immediately." "I will," I lied. He studied me for a long moment, then said, "You have talent, Lily. Don't waste it trying to be clever." Talent. That word used to mean something. Now it just sounded like a threat dressed as a compliment. When I left his office, I slipped his keycard from the table. He didn't notice. That night, after everyone left, I used it to access the locked server room beneath the stage. It was cold, humming with machines that pulsed like veins. I plugged in the man in gray's drive. The monitors flickered, lines of code unfurling like curtains. I uploaded everything, the footage, the documents, the ledgers, to a secure drive, then scheduled an anonymous drop to every major media outlet in the city. Then I deleted the backups. Every trace of Velvet Echo's control system gone. But before I could leave, I heard the door slam shut behind me. "Looking for an encore?" "Vince." He stepped out of the shadows, gun in hand, smile unshaken. "You think we didn't see this coming?" I didn't answer. I just backed away slowly. "I admired you, Lily," he said. "Even when they told me to end it that night, I said no. But then you had to start digging, had to make it personal." The words hung in the air like smoke. End it. That night, he'd been there. At Firebird. "It was you," I said quietly. He shrugged. "Business is cruel, but don't worry. This'll look like another overdose. They'll even light a candle for you downstairs." He raised the gun, but he didn't know I'd already disabled the security locks. I kicked the breaker beside me, hard. The room went black. Sparks danced. The hum of the servers died. I moved fast, fueled by something that wasn't just adrenaline. It was the ghost of every woman they'd erased. Vince fired once. The bullet hit metal, ricocheted, and screamed past my ear. I lunged, caught his wrist, and slammed it against the wall. The gun fell. The room flashed with red emergency lights. His cufflink, VE, glittered for a split second before I drove it into his neck. He staggered back, choking, eyes wide with disbelief. "You were right," I whispered. "I am talented." He fell before he could answer. I stood there, chest heaving, surrounded by the hum of dying machines and the smell of blood and ozone. The sirens outside were already starting, distant, echoing. The uploads had gone through. Every file, every name, every dirty deal. For the first time in years, I felt the weight lift. When the police arrived, I told them everything. The bar, the trafficking, the surveillance. They didn't believe me, not at first, until the evidence started hitting the news. By morning, VE Holdings was everywhere. By afternoon, it was over. The man in gray was never found. The bar was sealed off. Vince's death was ruled self-inflicted. And me? They called me a survivor. But that's not what I am. I'm a performer. I just changed the act. When I walk past the ruins of Velvet Echo now, I sometimes catch my reflection in the blackened glass. My hair is longer, my limp permanent, but my eyes steady. The stage is gone, the applause is gone, but I'm still here, and I know now the best revenge isn't surviving. It's being the last one standing when the curtain falls. And this is my final performance. A year has passed since Velvet Echo burned, but the city doesn't bury its ghosts. It just builds new towers over the ashes. They turned that block into a parking garage. The sign outside says "Coming soon, luxury living," as if concrete can rewrite what happened there. People think I disappeared after the trial. The truth is, I did, but not in the way they think. I left the stage, the cameras, the noise. I learned to live in silence again. I taught dance to kids who would never know what it means to sell your soul for applause. I tried to make peace with the limp, the scars, the nights I still wake up hearing music that isn't there. And for a while, it almost worked. Then the letters started, typed, clean, no return address. You missed one. Inside each was a single photograph, different cities, different faces, all smiling men in suits, but they all wore the same cufflinks, VE. The company was gone, but the investors, the architects, had survived. They'd gone underground, rebranding, rebuilding, waiting for the noise to die. So I decided to bring the noise back. The plan started with a fundraiser, an art revival hosted by a media foundation uptown. They wanted a special performance to honor the resilience of New York's artists. The irony almost made me laugh. I sent an anonymous submission. The Firebird reclaimed, choreographed and performed by Raven. No one asked who I was. They never do when the story sounds poetic. The sponsors were the same men from the photos. They couldn't resist the symbolism. When I walked into the gala, the room was gold and glass, polished, perfect. No one recognized me, not the critics who'd once called me the next rising star, not the directors who'd replaced me, not the investors who'd bought my silence. I looked at them all and smiled, because this time I was in control of the lights. The performance began at 9 p.m. sharp. The stage was small, surrounded by mirrors, like dancing inside a prism. I'd designed it that way, every reflection capturing every angle. I wanted them to watch themselves, watching me. The music started, the same melody from Firebird. Slow, haunting, the echo of the night. Everything ended. My body moved to it instinctively, muscle memory laced with pain and purpose. The audience leaned forward, entranced, because that's what people do when they smell tragedy dressed up as art. Halfway through the piece, the lighting shifted. Not red this time, but cold blue. The mirrors behind me came alive, and the images began to play. The leaked files, the footage, the transactions, the faces, everything VE Holdings had buried. Every camera in the room turned toward the mirrors. Every guest froze. Gasps, shouts, panic. The investors stood up, pale, furious, cornered, but it was too late. The live stream had already begun. Thousands are watching online. I stopped dancing and faced them. "Welcome to my final act," I said into the mic. "I call it the cost of silence." Security rushed the stage. Flashbulbs went off. Someone screamed my name, but I didn't run. I just stood there, breathing hard, watching the mirrors fracture with every reflection of truth. When the police arrived, I handed them the final drive, the last of the evidence the man in gray had left behind. I'd been saving it for this. It contained everything: offshore accounts, shell companies, and political donations. By morning, the story was everywhere again. By evening, the remaining investors were under investigation. By midnight, the whole house of mirrors had come down. After that night, I left New York for good. No cameras, no headlines, no curtain calls. Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I see it all again. The fall, the blood, the red lights, the bar. But then I see the mirrors breaking and the light that followed. People still ask what happened to Lily Navarro. They say she vanished. They say she died. They say she became a ghost. Maybe they're all right. But now and then, when someone performs on a cracked stage in a forgotten corner of the city, when a dancer lifts her chin and refuses to bow, I like to think part of me is still there. Not the broken girl, not the victim, but the firebird that learned how to rise even after her wings were taken. Because the spotlight doesn't define you. Sometimes the darkness does. And tonight, the darkness belongs to me. It's been 7 years since the night of the Firebird reclaimed. 7 years since Lily Navarro, the fallen dancer turned whistleblower, vanished into the dark. The headlines faded, the trials ended, and New York found new scandals to feed on. The investors were either imprisoned or dead, and the foundation that hosted the gala quietly dissolved. The world moved on, but stories like hers never really end. They just wait for someone to open them again. The camera drifts through an abandoned warehouse in Brooklyn. Wide beams of dust and moonlight slicing through the air. Graffiti on the wall reads, "Velvet Echo lives." Someone has set up mirrors again. 10 of them, cracked but deliberate, placed in a circle. In the center stands a young woman, early 20s, new dancer, wide-eyed and hungry. She presses record on her phone and whispers, "Hello, my name is Ava Lane, and tonight I dance for the woman who taught me that silence can burn." The music begins, the same haunting strings Lily once used. Ava moves carefully at first, then with confidence, tracing Lily's old choreography. Her feet echo in the empty hall. Halfway through, she notices something, a reflection in one of the mirrors that isn't hers. A shape, a figure, sitting in the shadows, clapping slowly. Ava freezes. The lights flicker. The figure stands, female, slim, limping slightly. A faint scar glints across her temple. "Not bad," the woman says. Her voice is quiet but sharp. "But you're rushing the second pirouette." Ava's breath catches. She knows that voice. Everyone in the underground dance circuit does. "You're Lily Navarro?" The woman steps forward. Half her face is hidden beneath a black scarf. Her eyes, however, are unmistakable. "She's gone," Lily says simply, but the movement isn't. Ava's phone vibrates. The recording light blinks, uploading automatically to a live feed. Lily glances at it, then back at Ava. "Keep dancing," she whispers. "They're watching again." "Who?" Ava asks, trembling. Lily smiles, tired, knowing, almost sad. "The ones who never stopped." Outside, sirens wail faintly. But inside the warehouse, the mirrors begin to shimmer again. Not reflections this time, but images, faces, names, new ones, the same cufflinks, VE. Ava realizes this isn't a rehearsal. It's a message, a warning. Lily turns away and vanishes into the light, her reflection fading last of all. Ava stands alone, surrounded by the ghosts of a story she thought was finished. The music swells to its final note, and as she collapses to her knees, the camera pans up, capturing the graffiti above her head. "The Firebird Never Dies." Fade to black. Then, just before the credits, a single line appears on screen, typed in clean letters. "You missed one.